Hey everybody, it's the Grim Retails, and today I'm going to weigh in on the Andrew Ditch situation because every now and again I got to talk about something that's relevant to the whole internet, and this just happens to align with some of my own mental health issues. And yes, let me begin by telling everybody who is new to my channel. So, for the last 20 years I worked in retail, and the last retail job I worked was actually Dollar General. I have actually stopped working there to pursue another job in a career that is not retail. So I'm kind of thinking I might start another channel that isn't necessarily about my new job, because my job is in the healthcare field, and there are aspects of that job that I could talk about, but I would have to be very careful about certain details because obviously I couldn't tell you the names of anybody involved. And if I described incidents that were too familiar and somebody recognized them as something that happened, it's a catch-22, and so I have to be careful. I do like this new job. When I say it's in the healthcare field, I don't actually work in healthcare, but I do work in a job in a healthcare facility. So yes, my job aligns with the healthcare field. And either way, there are certain laws in place to keep me from talking about certain things, and there are certain regulations that make it difficult. Anyway, my point is I technically don't work in retail anymore. Although I could, I guess, at some point in the near future, who knows? I might have to get 2 or 3 more jobs, depending on the way things go. But for now, I'm still sticking with the Grim Retails, and I'm kicking around a couple of ideas for starting a new channel anyway, just because this channel kind of got off the tracks. Like, it was supposed to be about retail and the challenges of being an autistic person working in retail, and in many ways I haven't changed that theme. I just haven't really stuck to it. I mean, I think I've definitely talked about retail and I've made sketches about retail, but I've also made sketches about movies and TV shows. I've also made reviews about food and stuff, and I figured the reviews were pretty well in alignment with the Grim Retails, since the reviews were things that you buy in stores and stuff. Anyway, I don't know. Just, like I said, I'm just kicking around a few ideas. I may or may not start a new channel. Might not be about the workplace exactly, but it's nothing in stone right now. Anyway, so let me just start off by giving everybody a little background on myself. I am autistic. I was diagnosed when I was 13. I did not want the diagnosis. I think I'm the only autistic person on earth who did not want the diagnosis, because it was essentially forced on me. Nowadays, you have to fight tooth and nail just to get somebody diagnosed, and this is a day and age when almost everyone and their uncle can recognize the signs of autism. But they don't want to diagnose people anymore because there's no more money in it. Now that autism is so widely known, there's no more money for a therapist diagnosing somebody with autism. And when I was diagnosed, the person who diagnosed me was fishing for a book deal. He was working he was a psychologist working in a clinic, and a lot of the school I went to referred a lot of patients to him. So he was making his bread and butter from being a child therapist or child psychologist. He wanted to make his big bucks in the industry, and the papers for Asperger's syndrome had just been translated from German. This was about 1996, and I was one of the first people in this town to actually be diagnosed with autism. Well, back then it was called Asperger's syndrome. It has since changed to Autism 1, Autism 2. I don't know which autism it is, but I am autistic, and I have since accepted the fact that I'm autistic. It's not that I never accepted it. It was just the fact that I didn't appreciate being labeled. I didn't appreciate being told that I was wrong, that I had something wrong with me. And the people who wanted me labeled weren't really trying to help me. They were trying to help themselves. So, there's a lot to unpack there, but suffice to say, this is what gets me most about the Andrew Ditch situation. Now, I've only recently become aware of him, and that's only because a few internet creators have been covering this guy. He has his own YouTube channel called My Autism Life Story. And the majority of this channel seems to be various ways that this 38, 39-year-old man can terrorize his ailing mother and father and stress out his brother, who will no doubt have to clean up the mess after his parents are gone. Andrew Ditch I don't know his whole life story. I know bits and pieces of it. And at some point, quite a while back, he got into a car accident, and his father, probably rightly so, thinks that the car accident messed up Andy's mind. And since then, Andrew has claimed to be autistic, and he claims that he needs to wear diapers, and he claims that he needs help with everything, even though he doesn't need help recognizing penal codes and police codes and all that other stuff, because, well, if you go to any of the other content creators, like mainly Mr. Beefy is the one I'm currently following as far as Andrew Ditch goes, you'll hear lots of stuff about this guy. And like a lot of commenters, I'm a little offended by the fact that Andrew seems to put on an act. Now, he has not been officially diagnosed with autism. If anything, he has been to many evaluators who said he does not have the diagnosis. And I realize, yes, autism is a spectrum. So you can have the symptoms of autism, but a lot of those symptoms are a lot of those symptoms, I don't know if comorbidity is the right word, but they can be parts of other diagnoses as well. And it's not to say that Andrew does not have something going on. It's not to say that he's not mentally ill. But autism, he has no official diagnosis of autism, and nobody he has seen, none of the evaluators he has seen, have confirmed his claim. And so, but, all right. The reason why I was so reluctant, I mean, among many things, the reason I was so reluctant to accept the diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome was because I never felt like there was anything wrong with me. I knew I was a little strange. I knew I had fascinations that other people did not have, but a lot of the things they say about somebody with autism didn't apply to me. And that's because back then they didn't really understand that autism is a spectrum. They didn't understand that one autistic person is not the same as the other. Again, they were trying to force a label down my throat. But Andy is taking this label and he's using it as a blanket excuse to get away with all kinds of things, mainly terrorizing his family. He has attempted to harm his parents by, I believe, using an oil diffuser in a capacity that is not federally mandated, which I believe in and of itself is a crime. I mean, it definitely is a crime, but the fact that this guy is not in jail, or the fact that the police have not hauled him away in handcuffs any of the times he has called them to their house, really baffles me, just because I think of all the people who are currently in jail for far lesser offenses. And it just boggles the mind how I actually do know people who are far worse on the spectrum than I am. When I worked at Rite Aid, there was a man with autism. He was higher support needs than I am. And I met his mother because she worked at the laundromat across the street from my apartment. And I learned about him from her mostly, that when he was a child, he had, again, his autism was so severe that none of the schools wanted to take him as a student. And she fought to get him there was a special institution, I think it was somewhere, I want to say North Carolina. I could be wrong, but I'm just kind of remembering bits and pieces. But there was an institute that specialized in teaching and helping children with autism. I don't think it was based on ABA, but I could be wrong. It was so long ago that ABA may just not have been the name for what they did. But the main point is, when they were done with him, like, first they took this guy free of charge. Like, she was able to get him into this institution free of charge. They wanted him in their institution, and I think it was 6 months later, he was out of training pants. He was toilet trained. He was communicative. And he was just functioning enough that he was able to go to school and he was able to graduate from high school. all of these are wonderful things. And this is a man who still needs somebody with him. He needs a job coach. His mother is still an active part of his life. He can't be 100% independent, but he is certainly able to take care of his bodily functions and his biological needs. And he has enough awareness that he can even hold down a job as long as he has a job coach. Andy Ditch is very clearly low support needs. Whatever his actual condition is, he could be low support needs. But somewhere along the line, he got way too used to being taken care of, way too used to being coddled. And he obviously knows what he is doing. He's well aware of what he's doing. And he is constantly trying to manipulate people into taking care of him. And it's offensive the way he constantly tells people that he has autism, and it quite literally shits right in our face. The community that has tried so hard to be recognized as functional members of society are being dragged down by this person using this diagnosis. And I have no doubt that there are members of a certain dedicated group of anti-autistic people who are watching his channel and saying, yes, this is exactly what autistic people are like. This is why we need to put them in special happy camps. Yeah, and that's really all I got to say about that. There's not much more I can add. Please follow Mr. Beefy's channel. There are also a few other channels that are covering Andrew Ditch, but Mr. Beefy has really dedicated himself to perusing every single video in that guy's channel, and it's mind-boggling. Every time I watch those reaction videos, it is just, I can't think of any other word. It blows my mind, the fact that Andrew Ditch is still allowed to live in that house, giving his family such a hard time and basically making his parents' lives absolutely miserable. As mad as I am at my parents, and believe me, they deserve it, I could never do to them what Andrew Ditch is doing to his family. But, all right, well, that is one autistic person's view on the situation. Once again, I'm still going to keep the grim retails. Sorry, I'm kind of making this up. I'm kind of thinking about this as I go along. I'm still going to keep the grim retails. I'm still going to do sketches about retail because I have 20 years of back trauma to unload, and there are plenty of sketches about retail that I can still do. So I haven't lost that spirit, but I will keep everyone up to date on whether or not I do a new channel. The new channel might be entirely vlog based, but I haven't made up my mind. So yeah, in the words of one of my favorite content creators, Penguin Zero, that's about it. See ya.